Guys, Advanced Computing here. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create your own calculator in C#. Okay, so if you remember a while back, I did this video in Python, but in this case, I'm going to show you this in C# using Visual Studio Code, and I will leave a link to the Python video in the description below. So obviously, the first thing we have to do, just like the Python video, is going to create a while loop here. We're just going to say while true. And this is because we want the code to keep running until we tell it to break or stop. So it will keep looping back to the beginning until the user enters quit. All right, now we obviously need to write some rules. So these are the rules that I've written in the Python one as well. I've just changed it to fit C#. So obviously console.writeLine and console.write. And then the next thing we have to do is we have to take some input from the user. So we're going to create a string called user input, and it's going to be equal to the console.readLine. So whatever they input, like that. Okay. And the next thing now, once we've got their input, we just have to create some if statements. Okay. So the first one is going to be if the user input is equal to add, then of course we have to ask them for two numbers and then add those two numbers together. Brilliant. So let's do this. Okay. So if user input is equal to add, we're going to ask them to enter the first number. Yeah, enter first number here, like that. Okay, and then of course we need to take some input, so we're going to create a double here just so that they can use decimals. If they want to add two decimals together, that's why we're using a double, because we don't know whether they're going to enter like a really long decimal number, but we just want them to be able to do so. So we're just going to convert this to a double, like that, and of course we want to convert whatever they input. So going to be console.readLine, like that. Brilliant. Okay. Then obviously we need to ask for the second number, but I just copy this. Okay, we can change this to second number. Very good. And of course, now we need to save that second number as num2. So let's save that as num2. Very good. Okay. And then of course we need to add the two numbers together and then print it out. So we're just going to do that in one go. Console.writeLine num1 plus num2. All right, very good. And the last thing I'm going to do here is something called system.threading.thread.sleep. And you'll see here that inside it's asking me for the milliseconds timeout, the number of milliseconds for which the thread is suspended. Okay, so what that means is this is basically going to make the system wait or go to sleep for that specific number of milliseconds. Now 1000 milliseconds is 1 second, so I'm going to make this go to sleep for 2 seconds, like that. And what this will do is it will completely wait or freeze the program until before moving on to the next if statement or the next line of code. But in this case, that's our last line in this if statement, and we move on to the next else if statement here. So we need else if user underscore input is equal to subtract. In this case, we have to do the opposite and minus, subtract two numbers. All right. So like this. We're just going to take all of this here because we can use that again and just change one operator. You can make this minus first of all, and of course the user has to know which number they're entering is the higher number or which one is the lower number. So in this case, our first number they're entering is going to be the higher number. Higher number and enter lower number. Okay, brilliant. And of course another else if here. Else if the user input is going to be what happens if it's going to be multiply? Well, then of course we have to multiply these two numbers, num1 and num2. So like this again, we can reuse all of this let's spell enter correctly. Okay, we can reuse all of this actually, like this. We can just move it all down here. Brilliant, and we just have to change this operator here to multiply. Okay, next thing, another else if, like this, and else if user input is equal to, what happens if it's divide? Of course, we need to again tell them which number that they're entering is going to be the higher number and the lower number. So in this case, the first one is going to be the higher number. So we can reuse this, and you'll see why I'm using this system.threading.thread.sleep in a second. Here, I just wanted to show it to you now so you know that it's there. Okay, and after divide, of course, the next thing would be to square. Okay, and we've done squaring before. Wait, let me just change this operator to divide. We've done squaring before. Obviously, you only need to take one number for squaring, so we can add another else if. Um, Here, change it to that. Square like this, and then of course we need this, the syntax for the else if and if statements. And of course here in this case we only need one number, so we can ask them to enter a number to square like this, and we're again using console.write to make it look neater. And now we will take one number only, so I'm just going to call it num, and of course I'm going to make it double, and it's going to be the uh, input of whatever the user inputs here into the console.readline. So we have to convert it to a double first, and again we'll ask them to type a number in using the console.readline function. Okay, and you see now that whatever they input will be converted into a double and stored into the num variable. And of course, the last two lines, we now have to actually do the equation. So console.write line num times num. Okay, and of course, the final system.threading.thread.sleep. Brilliant, and 2000. Of course, you can change this to whatever time you want it to sleep for. I can make it 3 seconds by typing 3000, or 5 seconds by typing 5000, and so on. Okay, the next thing we have to do now is cube, which is, again, you only need to take one number in this case, because you're just timesing it by itself 3 times. Okay, we can simply use this. Uh, we can use these 4 lines of code again as well. Instead of this, I have to change this to cube, like that. Syntax again, brackets, curly brackets. And we're going to use these 4 lines again. Okay, so enter a number to cube this time. That should be the same, and of course we need to add another times num here, and that should be it actually. So that is the cube, and of course the last one now that I showed you in the Python video is power. Okay, now in C Sharp, I'm going to show you in a second here actually, they do have um, math.pow, which is also used in Python too. So um, let's change this to power. Very good. Okay, so to do a power in C Sharp, first of all, let's ask them for the base and the exponent. So console.write here, we're going to have to ask them to enter the base of the power like this. And of course, now we're going to have to ask them to um, type their base of the power. So num1 is going to be converted into a double. So that's going to be converted into a double. There we go, like that. Like this. And then again we need to ask them for the exponent, so like so, and of course we're going to take it as a num2, and we're going to take it as a double, I think. Yep, it will be taken as a double. So convert dot to double like this, console.readline again. Um, yeah, okay, brilliant. So now we have the base and the exponent. What do we do with that though? So now we're actually going to have to use this function called math.pow in C sharp. All right, there is a pow function in Python too, which works exactly like the one in C sharp. In fact, they're both very similar, except in C sharp, if you've already imported math, then you don't have to write math.pow. Here in C sharp, I think you do. So here, if we write console.writeLine, and here we're simply going to write math.pow. Remember, it's capital M and capital P in this case, unlike Python, and it's going to be num1. Well, actually, first let's look at what it takes. Here you can see it takes a double, and it also takes another double. So in this case, the double x will be our base, and the double y will be our exponent. So it's going to have to be num1 and num2, like this. Okay, and that is the console.writeLine there, printing out our power. And of course, the last line will be going to make the code go to sleep, or the program go to sleep for 2 seconds. Okay, and the last one, just in case the user wants to quit, we need to make it nice and easy for the user to be able to quit. So we're going to just create one for the quit really quickly, like this, like that, and we just need to put a break in here, then like this. Okay, and that should be it, I think. So that is our calculator in C sharp. You can see it's inside a while true loop, so that it should keep going until the user enters quit here. And you can do as many calculations as you want. Okay, let's go ahead and try and run it now. So hit F5 and it should come up with this window here, this console. And now it's asking me for a command. So I'm going to put in, let's try the power, okay? Enter the base of the power. Let's say it's 2 and 3. Brilliant. It says 8. Okay. And now did you see how it was waiting for 2 seconds there? Let me just show you that again actually. So let's do add. Here, let me do 1 and 2. And now it enters the number 3 and you can see that it's flashing there and it was waiting for 2 seconds before printing all of this out again. So that's why it makes it easier to read. It waits for you to read that for 2 seconds. It gives you 2 seconds to read it, and then it displays all of this all over again. Now, I think 2 seconds might be a bit too long, a bit too short for some people, but you can change that to whatever you want it to be. Or you can even ask it to wait for a key before moving on to the next bit. Okay, so that is all, guys, for this video. Let's try to see if the quit works. Brilliant. Okay, the quit works fine. So this is how you create a calculator in C Sharp on Visual Studio Code. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was like similar to the Python video here. You can see that this is all of the same instructions. Like I've built this completely off of the Python one, but I've just changed everything so that it works in C Sharp. Um, if you did like the video, then please like, share, and subscribe, and have a go at this yourself. You can see that we use the while true in brackets. The true has to be in brackets here, unlike Python. And of course, the if statement has to be, the condition has to be in the brackets here too. Okay, guys, that's all, and I'll see you in the next one. We're almost at 100 subscribers, so please subscribe, leave a like, and share. Goodbye.